A new study from University of Hawaiʻi at Mānoa shows how tiny organisms in freshwater could soon provide biofuels, medicine, and other uses for humans. And our guests this morning are here to help us understand how it all works. Dr. Shitanaka and PhD student Sally Du, both in the Department of Molecular Sciences and Bioengineering. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. A little background, if I may, because you guys are the experts, but microalgae have the potential to help Hawaii create a more resilient, energy-independent economy. And microalgae, one interesting thing about it, has immense potential because they don't compete with food crops for land or fresh water. That's my amateur description of what you guys are spending so much time. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's early. I know it's really cold in the studio too as well. But Dr. Shitanaka, I want to start with you first because again, when I saw this interview come up, I'm like, I need to do it because I'm really interested in this. Where does this naturally form, this microalgae?
Thank you, Reed, for your question. And thank you so much for having us on today. So microalgae are found in all kinds of different environments. Well, normally when you hear the word algae, you might think of like limu, you might see it in your poke bowls, but this is, algae can come in all different kinds of colors, shapes, forms. And really the one that we're interested in, microalgae, hence its name, is really small. You need typically a microscope to see it. But these have immense potential for the future, as you mentioned. And the study that the work that we're really interested in is turning microalgae into fuels and different kinds of products. Here we can find it in many different environments. They occur across Hawaii. You can see them if you're kind of walking along the sidewalk and you see like a pool of water, then there could be like some green films growing in there. That's microalgae. Also, if you think of like a lake, maybe Lake Wilson, that green color is probably microalgae.
So it's essentially a not superfood, but a super resource that we can now use, like you mentioned, for things that we use on an everyday basis, Sally. How can it be used? Because Doctor is talking about how it can be used for fuels. How can it be used for fuels? And are we talking about the most mundane uses in our automobiles, in the machinery that we use?
Oh yes, so absolutely. When we talk about microalgae, they're going to really naturally produce a lot of fats, a lot of oils. And so then we can use these fats or oils to make fuels that are really safe, really renewable, and that's what we call biofuels. And so we can then use these biofuels you could probably use them in your car, we could use them for airplanes, jets. Applications are really, really broad.
And this might be a little bit, this question about it might be a little bit off the track, but AI and machinery and AI is going to use so much energy, right? A lot of talk about the energy output in AI is one that a lot of us are talking about, right? The grid, how is it going to make us more energy dependent, so to speak? Is something like microalgae part of that solution, Doctor?
Well, when you talk about AI, yes, definitely the energy intensity that it's currently projected to take in the future is a big concern. I think the really interesting part about microalgae is that, and what it can be really used for is, as Sally mentioned, for fuels and sustainable aviation fuels in particular. In Hawaii, we need to rely a lot on air transport, and so microalgae being turned into fuels is a really novel and interesting idea for that purpose.
Yeah, aviation, also shipping. A lot of our resources come in on boats. If there's autonomous driving, all of this is going to take a lot of power for us to, power the future, so to speak. Anything in the future, Sally, I want to go to you for this last one. Any future applications for microalgae that maybe we're not thinking of just yet?
Oh, that's definitely a good question because, again, super broad applications when we talk about microalgae. I'm probably going to be working actually on a project where we can essentially harness microalgae as sort of a way to deliver like vaccines. We could use them as supplements. That's a really popular essentially application right now. When we think of like things like omega-3s, that's a really popular dietary supplement. When we think of that, naturally we kind of go to fish. But fish actually naturally get their omega-3s from microalgae. And so we can essentially cut off the middlemen in that aspect and go and directly produce our omega-3s straight from microalgae.
Yeah, the middle fish, sorry guys. We might be cutting you out, but maybe that dilutes the mercury that we're having in our nutrition as well. Dr. Shitanaka, Sally, thank you so much for joining us. I could spend all day, Tanya, talking to these two because this is such an interesting topic, but I'm going to send it back to you.